Arabica, Robusta, two beans in the game. Both are coffee, but not the same. Arabica brings sweetness, flowers, fruit. Clean in the cup when it's grown from the root. Robusta comes stronger, bold and deep. More caffeine power when you need no sleep. PASA Coffee, taste and see. Complex or strong, what will your cup be? From Dubai, we learn the way. Better coffee starts today. PASA Coffee Podcast, Episode 2.
Have you ever picked up a bag of coffee at the supermarket or, maybe a fancy retail box at your local cafe and seen the words 100% Arabica stamped proudly right on the front?
Oh, it's always in that bold premium font, right? Like it's some sort of gold star.
Exactly. It feels like a gold star on a school assignment. And if you're anything like me, you probably looked at that label and thought, okay, that sounds official, but what does it actually mean?
Yeah, people see it and just assume it means quality.
Right. Is it a cast iron guarantee that you're about to brew the best cup of your life? Or is it just a really successful marketing buzzword? Or maybe something else entirely?
It's a question that trips up almost everyone when they first start, really paying attention to what's inside their cup. We see these terms everywhere, yet very few people stop to ask why some coffees hit your palate like a heavy bitter punch, while others taste incredibly light, almost like a sweet, fruity tea.
Which is exactly why today our mission is to decode the mystery of the coffee bean. We're going to figure out exactly why your coffee tastes the way it does and, well, how to stop relying on marketing jargon to pick your morning brew.
It's going to be a fun one.
Totally. And this deep dive is powered by the Beginner Specialty Coffee series from PASA Coffee. They're a specialty coffee academy and brand based right in Dubai. And what's really cool about their approach is that it's fundamentally about education first.
Yeah, they really emphasize the learning aspect before pushing any products.
Exactly. Even their logo has this great little detail. It features the word coffee translated as Q integrated into the design, which is, just a really nice nod to the global rooted nature of the drink.
It's a great touch. And to truly understand what PASA Coffee is teaching, and to make sense of that 100% Arabica label on your bag, we have to completely change our baseline perspective.
Okay, change it how?
Well, before your coffee becomes a V60 pour-over or a foamy cappuccino or, an intense Arabic-style black coffee, it's just a plant growing in the dirt.
Right. And to understand the final drink, we have to meet the two most famous members of that plant's family. Most of us just think coffee is coffee. You buy the brown beans, you grind them up, you add hot water, and bam, magic happens.
Yeah, but the raw material isn't actually a bean at all.
Wait, it's not a bean?
Not even close. It's a fruit seed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is the single most important mind shift for anyone getting into specialty coffee. The coffee plant produces a small, brightly colored fruit called a coffee cherry.
A cherry. Okay.
Right. They're usually bright red or yellow when they're ripe, and they look remarkably similar to the cherries you'd buy in the produce aisle.
So if I were to pluck one of those off a branch and bite into it, what's inside?
You'd find an outer skin, a very thin layer of sweet, sticky fruit flesh called the mucilage, and then right in the center you'd usually find two seeds facing each other, flat sides touching.
Ah, so those two little seeds are what we strip out, dry, roast, and call coffee beans.
Exactly. Now, while there are over 100 different species of this plant growing in the wild, the entire global coffee industry essentially relies on just two specific species to fuel our caffeine habits.
Which brings us to the stars of the show. We have coffee Arabica, which we all know simply as Arabica, and then we have coffee Canephora, which goes by its much more common stage name, Robusta.
Yes, the two heavyweights.
Right. And a good way to think of Arabica and Robusta is like two cousins from the exact same family. They both give you caffeine, they both end up in mugs all over the world, but they behave and evolve in radically different ways.
That's the crucial foundational concept. Arabica and Robusta aren't just, brand names or different roasting styles. They are biologically distinct species.
Meaning they're wired differently from the ground up.
Exactly. And because their biology is fundamentally different at a cellular level, everything else changes. Their biology dictates where they can grow, how much they cost a farmer to produce, how they react when exposed to intense heat in a roaster, and ultimately, exactly what chemical compounds end up in your cup.
Okay, let's look at the cousin that completely dominates the specialty coffee world first. The one that gets all the bold lettering on the packaging Arabica.
The famous one.
Right. From everything I'm looking at, Arabica seems to be the delicate diva of the coffee family. It requires a highly specific environment to thrive. It's usually grown way up in the mountains at very high elevations. We're talking 3,000 to over 6,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah, that high elevation is non-negotiable for high-quality Arabica. Up in those mountains, the air is thinner and the climate is cooler and incredibly consistent.
Why does that matter, though?
Well, here's why. The cold nights up in the mountains actually slow down the plant's metabolism. The coffee cherries take much longer to mature and ripen.
Wait, if the cold slows the plant down, doesn't that mean less coffee for the farmer to sell? That sounds like a terrible business model.
It's definitely a tougher business model, which is exactly why Arabica is much more expensive to produce. The plants yield less fruit, and they're highly sensitive.
Sensitive to what?
Oh, to fungal diseases, to pests, and to even slight shifts in climate. But, and this is key, that slow maturation process is exactly what creates the magic.
Because it takes its time.
Right. Because the cherry develops so slowly, the plant has time to pack the seed full of complex sugars, organic acids, and intricate chemical compounds. The cellular structure of a high-altitude Arabica bean is incredibly dense.
And I'm guessing that density is what translates into all those wild tasting notes I see on specialty bags.
You got it.
Because it always used to blow my mind when someone would hand me a black coffee and say, "Taste this, it has notes of jasmine and blueberry." I'd think they were just being pretentious, but they were usually talking about a high-quality Arabica.
They were describing the results of those complex sugars caramelizing during the roast. When Arabica is grown well and treated right, the sensory canvas it offers is astonishing.
So it's not like artificial flavoring pumped into the bean.
Not at all. You aren't tasting added flavoring, you're tasting the natural organic acids present in the seed. It can give you notes of milk chocolate, caramel, bright citrus, honey, or stone fruits like peach and apricot.
That sounds amazing.
It is. It's prized precisely because it can be sweet, floral, juicy, and incredibly clean on the palate, without needing any milk or sugar to mask the taste.
Which makes total sense why a place like PASA Coffee focuses heavily on Arabica in their masterclass training. If you're teaching students to recognize subtle aromas, different types of acidity the difference between a malic acid that tastes like a crisp apple versus a citric acid that tastes like a lemon, you absolutely need a bean with that complex biological potential.
You do. You can't learn to taste nuance if the raw material doesn't contain any.
So here's my question. If I'm standing in the grocery store and I grab a bag that says 100% Arabica, am I guaranteed to get this magical, sweet, floral cup of coffee? Because I've definitely bought bags with that label that tasted like burnt tires and old dirt.
Yeah, you've hit on the biggest trap in the coffee industry. The short answer is no, you aren't guaranteed anything. Arabica only represents potential.
Potential.
Right, we have to separate the biology of the plant from the execution of the people handling it.
How does that potential get ruined then? Let's say a farmer grows a beautiful, dense, high-altitude Arabica cherry. What goes wrong between the mountain and my kitchen?
Honestly, almost anything can go wrong. Maybe the farmer picked the cherry before it was fully ripe. Maybe the processing station left the seeds out in the sun too long and they started to mold.
Yikes.
Or maybe the roaster bought those beautiful green seeds and accidentally blasted them with too much heat, essentially turning those complex sugars into pure carbon. Or, frankly, maybe you took those perfectly roasted beans home, ground them to the wrong size, and poured furiously boiling water over them.
Wait, boiling water is bad. I thought coffee needed boiling water.
Water right off the boil is often too hot, especially for dark roasts. It essentially scalds the coffee, extracting all the harsh, bitter tannins and destroying those delicate floral acids we just talked about.
Oh, wow, I see. So the chain of quality is incredibly fragile. It's kind of like buying a high-end sports car.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Right. The biological potential for speed is definitely under the hood, but if the mechanic put on cheap tires or if you don't know how to drive a manual transmission, you're still going to stall at the traffic light. The 100% Arabica label just tells you the make and model. It doesn't promise you that anyone along the way did their job well.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. The label tells you the species, nothing more.
Okay, so if Arabica is this fragile, high-maintenance diva of the coffee world that needs cold mountains and perfect handling, farmers needed an insurance policy. They needed a survivor plant that could handle harsh conditions. Which brings us to the second cousin.
Enter Coffea canephora. Robusta.
The name itself just sounds tough. Robusta. Robust.
It lives up to the name perfectly. If Arabica demands cool, high-altitude environments, Robusta is perfectly happy growing at much lower elevations in far warmer, more humid climates.
So it's not picky.
Not at all. It's a much hardier, faster-growing plant. It yields significantly more fruit per tree, which inherently makes it much cheaper to produce.
But the trade-off for that fast growth at a low altitude is a less dense bean, right? Less time to develop those complex sugars we talked about.
Correct. But Robusta makes up for its lack of complex sugars with a fascinating biological defense mechanism. Down at lower elevations, in warmer climates, there are far more pests and insects that want to eat the coffee cherries.
Makes sense. More bugs in the heat.
Right. So to survive, the Robusta plant evolved to produce significantly more caffeine than Arabica.
And this is the part that I find absolutely fascinating. We think of caffeine as our morning fuel, but in nature, caffeine is an alkaloid. It actually acts as a toxic biological defense mechanism against insects.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The bug spray is literally built into the biology of the bean.
It's nature's pesticide. But that evolutionary survival tactic has a direct impact on how the coffee tastes to us. Alkaloids, by their very chemical nature, taste intensely bitter to the human palate.
So that's where the bitterness comes from.
Exactly, because Robusta has nearly double the caffeine content of Arabica and significantly fewer natural sugars to balance it out. The flavor profile is entirely different.
So how does that biology translate to the cup? I'm guessing we aren't tasting delicate jasmine and peach here.
Not at all. With Robusta, you get a much heavier, thicker body. You're going to encounter a significantly stronger bitterness. The tasting notes usually revolve around earthy tones, woody flavors, and deep, dark, nutty notes, and of course, a massive, intense caffeine kick.
Now, I know a lot of people who hear strong bitterness and woody notes and immediately dismiss Robusta as just bad coffee, like it's the cheap filler stuff you only settle for when you're desperate.
That's a very common beginner misconception, largely because low-quality Robusta is often used as filler. It's the backbone of cheap commercial instant coffee, precisely because it's cheap to grow, easy to extract, and delivers a massive caffeine punch.
So there's a reason for its bad reputation.
Sure, but treating all Robusta like cheap instant coffee is a huge mistake.
So there's a redemption arc for Robusta, because I definitely see it used in some very high-end cafes.
High-quality, carefully farmed Robusta is highly prized, particularly in traditional Italian espresso culture. Many celebrated roasters will take a beautiful, flavorful Arabica and blend it with about 10 or 15% of high-quality Robusta.
Why ruin a pure Arabica by cutting it with a more bitter bean, though? What's the mechanical purpose of blending them?
It's all about texture and visual appeal. Robusta beans have a different lipid and oil content. When you pull an espresso shot under high pressure, the Robusta adds a heavy, syrupy body to the liquid.
It thickens it up.
Right. It provides a strong, bold punch that can cut right through the milk and sugar in a latte. Most importantly, those oils emulsify with the carbon dioxide in the coffee to create a remarkably thick, persistent layer of crema, that beautiful golden brown foam on top of a perfect espresso shot.
So it's not a villain at all. It's a specific tool in the roaster's toolbox. Arabica brings the complex flavor and the aromatic high notes, while Robusta brings the muscle, the heavy bass line, and the texture.
Exactly. Neither species is inherently good or bad in a vacuum. A meticulously grown and processed Robusta is always going to taste better than an Arabica that was carelessly farmed and burned to a crisp in the roaster.
Let's take all this biology and flavor chemistry out of the abstract and put it into a real-world scenario. Let's look at the daily routine of a coffee drinker in the UAE, because this illustrates perfectly why both beans exist and thrive.
Context is everything when choosing a coffee.
Imagine a typical weekday morning in Dubai. Say you live in Bur Dubai, Deira, Karama, or Al Nada. Your alarm goes off, you're rushing to get dressed, and you need to sprint out the door to catch the metro to get to the office.
The usual morning panic.
Right, in that high-stress, fast-paced moment, you don't want to sit down and contemplate the delicate, floral, tea-like nuances of a high-altitude bean. You want a wake-up call. You might grab a strong latte or an intense Americano.
You need something fast, bold, and effective. This is the absolute perfect moment for that traditional espresso blend. You want a drink that features a base of Arabica for some baseline flavor, but heavily relies on that touch of good Robusta to give you that heavy, milky texture and that massive caffeine hit to jumpstart your brain for the workday.
But then, let's look at that exact same person just a few days later. It's a Saturday morning, there's no alarm clock, no metro to catch, no rush, they're at home in their kitchen.
The environment completely shifts the goal of the coffee.
Exactly. They pull out the digital scale, the gooseneck hot water kettle, and their V60 dripper. And for listeners who aren't familiar, a V60 is just a cone-shaped device where you put a paper filter, add your coffee grounds, and manually pour hot water over them, letting gravity do the work.
A very calming ritual.
It's a slow, deliberate ritual. For this moment, our coffee drinker reaches for a 100% Arabica bean from a specific farm in Ethiopia or Colombia.
Because in a V60, that thick paper filter catches all the heavy oils and insoluble particles. It strips away the heavy body, leaving behind a drink with immense clarity. You're intentionally slowing down to savor the sweetness, the bright fruitiness, and the clean finish that only a pure Arabica can provide when brewed manually.
I love that contrast. Arabica is like having a detailed, nuanced conversation with an old friend. Robusta is like a really loud alarm clock. Both serve a very necessary purpose.
That's a great way to put it.
But this brings up a massive challenge for consumers. Since neither bean is universally the best for every scenario, how do we actually shop for coffee? We've already established that seeing 100% Arabica on the bag is just a starting point, not the finish line.
Shopping for specialty coffee means learning to read the clues on the label to understand what's actually inside the bag. There are 4 main things you should always look for.
Okay, let's walk through the checklist. What's the first clue?
First, look for the origin, the country, and ideally the specific region or farm where it was grown. Terroir, the unique environment of the soil and climate changes everything.
Give me an example.
Well, for instance, an Arabica grown in the lower altitude, flatter regions of Brazil is generally going to taste very chocolatey, nutty, and smooth. It's perfect for a comforting espresso. But an Arabica grown in the volcanic soil and extreme altitudes of Ethiopia is going to taste incredibly bright, floral, and bursting with berry flavors.
Even though they are the exact same biological species. That's wild. Okay, so origin is clue number 1. What's next?
Check the roast level and the roast date. Are you buying a light, medium, or dark roast? Light roasts preserve the plant's original cellular structure, highlighting the acidity and fruitiness. Dark roasts cook those sugars further, bringing out heavy, caramelized, roasty, smoky flavors.
And the date.
The date is absolutely crucial. Notice I said roast date, not expiration date.
Right, because coffee is a roasted agricultural product. It's basically baked goods. It goes stale over time as it oxidizes. You don't want beans that were roasted 8 months ago.
Exactly.
Okay, clue number 3, looking at our notes here, is the process. I see words like washed, natural, or honey on these specialty bags. What do those actually mean?
Remember earlier when we established that coffee is a seed inside a cherry? The process simply refers to the mechanical method the farmer used to remove the fruit from the seed before drying it. This choice dramatically alters the final flavor.
Break that down for me. How does a washed coffee differ from a natural one?
In a wash process, the farmer puts the cherries through a machine that strips off the outer skin. Then, the sticky mucilage-covered seeds are soaked in fermentation tanks, where enzymes eat away all the fruit residue until the seed is perfectly clean. Then they dry it.
So it's stripped totally bare.
Right. Because all the fruit is gone, a washed coffee gives you a very clean, crisp cup where you taste the pure genetics of the bean itself. Think of a crisp green apple.
Okay, so what about the natural process?
Natural processing is the oldest method in the world. The farmer picks the cherry and just lays the whole intact fruit out on raised beds in the hot sun. As it sits there for weeks, the fruit basically turns into a raisin around the seed.
Oh, so it dries inside the fruit.
Yes. As it ferments and dries, all those wild fruity sugars from the cherry physically seep into the porous cellular structure of the seed. When you brew a natural coffee, it often hits you with massive, funky flavors of strawberry, blueberry, or even wine.
That explains so much. And the honey process I sometimes see, I'm assuming there's no actual honey involved.
No bees involved, no. Honey processing is a hybrid. They remove the outer skin, but purposely leave that sticky, sweet mucilage, which looks and feels a bit like honey on the sea while it dries in the sun. It creates a coffee with a creamy body and a deep brown sugar sweetness.
That sounds delicious. So we've got origin, roast date, process, and finally, I'd assume the bag should tell you its purpose. like whether the roaster intended it to be pulled as a heavy espresso or brewed as a light filter pour-over.
Exactly.
When you start reading these details, you move from just blindly trusting a brand name to actually understanding the mechanics of your food. You stop being a coffee snob who insults Robusta, and you become a smart coffee drinker who understands where and how each bean fits into your life.
A smart coffee drinker.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly the goal. Knowing the theory is wonderful, but specialty coffee is incredibly tactile. It's a sensory experience that demands practice.
Which means it's time for a practical exercise for you listening at home. Don't worry, you don't need any expensive scales or grinders for this. You just need your eyes and your curiosity. Here is your homework for today. Go check 3 different coffee products around you. It could be the jar of instant coffee in your office pantry, a bag on the shelf at the supermarket, or the retail menu at your local cafe. Look closely at the label and run through our checklist.
Are they proudly claiming 100% Arabica? Do they mention an espresso blend with Robusta? Do they give you the origin, the processing method, the roast date?
But wait, if I'm standing in the supermarket, I can't exactly brew all 3 right there in the aisle to see how they taste.
You don't need to. The learning starts long before the brewing. Read the bag and ask yourself one simple question based on the clues. What is this coffee trying to be?
What is it trying to be? I like that.
Yes. Look at the data. Is it a dark roast Robusta blend trying to be bold, strong, and punchy for a morning wake-up? Is it a medium roast washed Arabica from Brazil trying to be smooth, balanced, and chocolatey? Is it a light roast natural Ethiopian aiming for fruity and complex? Or does the bag give you no information at all, meaning it's just selling you generic, stale caffeine?
Training your eyes to read the label helps train your tongue before you even take a sip.
Exactly. And for the truly ambitious listeners out there, try a side-by-side sensory test. Brew a cup of standard dark commercial coffee right next to a freshly roasted specialty Arabica.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Don't immediately judge them as good or bad. Just act like a scientist. Smell them. Which one smells sweeter? Take a sip. Which one feels physically heavier or oilier on your tongue? Which one leaves a clean finish and which one leaves a dry, ashy aftertaste?
Side-by-side comparison is the absolute fastest way to calibrate your palate. It's such a fun experiment. So let's recap our deep dive today. Coffee is a fruit seed. The 2 main species we rely on are Arabica and Robusta.
2 cousins.
The 2 cousins. Arabica is your high-altitude, dense bean that offers complex acids, sweetness, and delicate floral flavors. Robusta is your tough, low-altitude survivor that uses caffeine as a bug spray, resulting in a heavy body, strong bitterness, and that incredible espresso crema. And crucially, the quality of either bean depends on a massive, fragile chain of events, from the farmer's processing method to the roaster's heat, right down to the temperature of the water you pour over it.
It is honestly a minor miracle every time a truly excellent cup of coffee makes it to your table.
It really is. If you're in Dubai and you want to actually taste these differences, to move from just listening to hands-on practice, you can learn coffee 1 cup at a time with PASA Coffee in Dubai. You can explore their specialty beans, check out their barista training, or even get guidance on the right equipment for your home setup. Start with curiosity, taste more purposefully, and ask better questions.
Because there's always more to discover in the cup. Which brings us to a final thought I want to leave you with today.
I love a good lingering thought to end on. What do you have?
Well, today we unpacked the fact that a delicate Arabica grown in Brazil tastes completely different, nutty and chocolatey, from that exact same species of delicate Arabica grown in Ethiopia, which tastes floral and fruity. They are the exact same biological plant, yet the results are worlds apart.
Right.
So it raises a fascinating question. What mysterious invisible forces in the mineral composition of the soil, the angle of the sun, and the microbiome of the earth across the global coffee belt are so powerful that they can entirely rewrite the chemical flavor code of a seed?
Wow. The exact same seed, totally different taste, all because of the dirt it was planted in. Terroir really is the ultimate ghost in the machine. It definitely makes you rethink what that 100% Arabica stamp actually means, doesn't it? Something mull over during your next morning brew.
Arabica, Robusta, 2 beans in the game. Both are coffee, but not the same. Arabica brings sweetness, flowers, fruit. Clean in the cup when it's grown from the root. Robusta comes stronger, bold and deep. More caffeine power when you need no sleep. PASA Coffee, taste and see. Complex or strong, what will your cup be? From Dubai we learned the way. Better Better coffee starts today. PASA Coffee Podcast Episode 2.